had a coach 10 years ago, and she said something that stuck with me for 10 years. She said, you know, T, when you're overcoming the self-sabotaging versions of yourself, most people would rather sit in the familiar, undesired patterns and actually be in a season or 2 or 3 of cleaning up their past mess shiznit and being in a space of unfamiliar. And there's a big difference between pain and suffering. Pain is real. It's painful when you're making changes and you have emotional cravings and desires and you're like not having these dopamine hits, you know, of things, people, places, and things that like used to do it for you. And you're in this season of really making these changes in your life. And those are the things that really slow us down. Those are the pit stops. So today we're talking about standards versus expectations, how to live a life where you're not always disappointed anymore, and then building your standards off of core values and getting clear on what your core values are. It becomes a funnel system of aligning yourself with the people, places, and things that are for your highest and greatest good. And it also gives you the space of like anticipating suffering and not going there. Now, you already know, because you know the patterns and you know that those consequences always lead to the same undesired outcomes, because that's what a consequence is. A consequence is that I'm making this decision and I either have a desired outcome or an undesired outcome. When you're in cycles of patterns for those dopamine hits, and the self-sabotage, that's what self-sabotage is those little dopamine hits of instant gratification. You go into a funnel system one way, feeling bad and sorry for yourself. You go in the funnel system, you get a little dopamine hit, feel that instant gratification, and you leave feeling worse. So that's how the cycle happens. But when you are feeling bad and you're sitting in that space, but you have healthy tools to help you process it, you will always leave the funnel system stronger, more empowered, and getting to your next level upgrade in all areas of your life, specifically your business, your life, and any relationship that you go into. And so that's what she was saying in that aspect. And so today, let's get clear on expectations first, because expectations are really what will lead you to live a life of disappointment. So expectations are passive, they're external, they're reactive, based on an assumption or a hope, and it becomes an emotional roller coaster. It's an assumption or belief about what will or what should happen in a given situation, and it is relying on others to meet your assumed desires or beliefs. They're external factors and emotions that can also lead to disappointment if they're unmet, which is a huge percentage of it, because in here it says it's passive. Therefore, it's not communicated. You rely on others to do what you need or want. If unmet, you will feel disappointed, powerless, and resentful. Now, let's get into standards. Standards are empowering, and they are a powerhouse framework to success. They are clearly defined, a level of quality or behavior you commit to upholding for yourself and others. Standards are proactive, measurable, they're clearly communicated. They're controlled by individuals setting them. So if I'm setting a standard, I'm communicating to you guys that, and then therefore, if you meet them, cool, we break bread. If you don't, funneled out, or depending on how many chances or if you're going to rise to the standard. They're focused on personal, collective accountability, consistency. They become less emotional because you set the tone, you said what was up, and then it's a funnel system. They empower you to live in alignment with your values. Standards create mutual understanding and accountability. They reflect how you choose to show up in the world. And when you communicate these boundaries, you encourage others to also rise to the occasion. Love this because it's a level of behavior that I get to uphold, you get to uphold. It's communicated and it's embodied. Now, instead of waiting for others to meet your expectations, start to set standards. that create mutual understanding and then hold others accountable and make sure they're holding you accountable for where and who you want to become. I'm going to share 9 of my core values and get into how they've become the standard. So when you want to shift the responsibility of an expectation to a standard, first off, you got to get clear on it. One thing I highly suggest is spend some time with Chatty GPT, also Google. I still do like Google because, I don't know, I guess I know what to look for in there. But when you're looking up things, like start to look up like what is a core value in relationships? What are core values in this and that? And then start to dissect words and get clear on what they mean. And if they're in alignment, if they're not who you are, it's okay because you're setting a new standard for the tone for you in your life. So one of the biggest things is efficiently communicating. I have worked very hard on learning how to be a better communicator. Still to this day, learning how to communicate with myself through different tools and modalities like EFT, like I showed you guys in other videos, other tools of like learning how to process my own emotions and figuring out like what I'm feeling and how to safely express them within myself and then to others. And emotional management and emotional intelligence, so that also leads to that aspect. Pursuit of excellence, having integrity, being God-centered is first and foremost, kind and generous and thoughtful. And if somebody isn't yet there God-centered because it is religion, I've always in the pursuit before I became a Christian was always surrounded by heart-centered people because, you know, when you are somebody that has and knows and what's on the other side, that you also hold space for others as long as there is that like, you know, you're heart-centered, you're God-centered, kind and generous and thoughtful, respect themselves and also respects others, takes personal responsibility and ease. They're reliable and proactive and also authentic. And authenticity is just like, what do I want and who do I want to be? You guys, over the last several years, I've been red, I've been blonde, I'm now brunette. So authenticity is just, what do I want? And am I being true to my wants, needs, and my desires? Before all of that comes clarity. Core values are a big aspect of your clarity. And this type of stuff, it goes away. But what doesn't is how you show up and how you hold space for yourself and how you hold space for others. The thing about core values and getting clear on them, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is it becomes one of your greatest funnel systems. And it will get you on the other side to your dreams, goals, and visions as fast as possible and will prevent a lot of pit stops. What I mean about pit stops is when you're clear on your core values and you're clear on your standards and you're efficiently communicating them, the people that you allow into your life, you share your time and your energy with, the things, the hobbies, the activities, your behaviors, and where you go and how you spend your time, all of that impact the overall quality of your life. And so when you're clear on what you stand for and what you value, it becomes just so much easier to pick things up so much faster to prevent you from living a life of suffering. Because one of the things in the Yoga Sutras they say is like pain is real and suffering is optional. Pain happens when you are changing and growing, and not everybody wants to be on that journey with you. That's a power of free will, just like you've chosen to change. I saw a reel the other day where they said, you know, as you grow and evolve and change, the person that you maybe met 2 years ago fell in love with that version. Doesn't always mean they're going to love the next version of you. And so every day is a decision, but every day it's so important to consistently choose yourself, to choose your dreams, to choose the vision that God has given you. When you have core values, it keeps the people in alignment, anchored in. So it's a lot easier to funnel out the people that are not going to love you in the next version of your life, the people that are not going to accept you or value in the next season of where you're going because you weren't clear and anchored into those core values. Standards were not there. Boundaries were crossed. Respect was lost. And so the whole process of this is to make sure not only are you aligning yourself and funneling people into your life that are for your highest and greatest good, you're also removing people, places, and things that are not going to be part of an enriched ecosystem for you. That in fact, they're going to slow you down, and they're going to even prevent you from reaching your full potential. Remember, you were built for an extraordinary life, but first, you have to become an extraordinary human being. 10 steps to build mental strength and step into your personal power is free, and it is for you. Click the link below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.